before we open it up to the group. When I was at Georgetown Law School, one of my profs was appointed head of the firm in one of the offices, large firm. And he would drive me home from classes periodically because it was en route to his house. It was a slum in DC. We'll put that aside. But he said, you know, I'm really not enjoying this one bit. Now, he was a very prominent attorney in the tax area, but he didn't enjoy management. So I wonder if each of you could tell each of us, or all of us, how much management is involved in the job of solicitor and what your experience is in management. We'll start with you, David. Just pass the mic down.
Well, there is a lot of management in the job. Basically, the solicitor is heading the largest law firm in this circuit because you've got attorneys, investigators, paralegals, secretaries, victim witness, PTI. It is the largest law firm within the circuit. So management experience is very important. Where I would differ myself from my opponents is that I have managed the Oconee office successfully for 11 years. So I have successful management experience. I'm the only candidate that's actually worked in both counties, and I've done that for over a decade, which I think differentiates me too, because it is a circuit. It's not just us here in Oconee, but it's Anderson too. You've got to know both counties, the people in both counties, the officers of both counties, and all to make it work to successfully run this office. And so I think it is a lot of management, mostly management probably. Having said that, I would also like to keep trying cases. I'd like to be in court more than some of the solicitors I've seen, maybe less than some of the others. I think you got to strike a happy balance there.
Well, I'll just tell you, right when I got out of college, I went to work at the lumber company I was telling you about. And I was put in charge of 16 tractor trailers. We ran from South Georgia, from Savannah over to Thomasville, Georgia, all the way down to Orlando, Florida. And part of my job was managing the employees that did that, who ran those routes. It was part of my job to run the routes they ran and get them to the lumber companies that they were going to. And it was a hard job, but it was interesting too. And you learned a lot with dealing with people. Blue-collar people, people that just work and they're hard workers. But you learn how to talk and communicate with them. And that's where I think I bring a difference to it. I grew up in a blue-collar town. I did my time working in a pulp mill. So I understand what it's like to work a 9-to-5 or a shift work job. Actually, when I was at GP, we worked Georgia Pacific, we worked shift work. So I learned quickly what you had to do and how you got to get along with people. When I was in private practice, I helped run an office because that's what you do. You are over secretaries and paralegals and investigators, and so you have to learn how to manage your time, learn how to manage them so they will work efficiently for you. So you can get your job done because they have to help you. Furthermore, when I came to the solicitor's office, as Mr. Wagner was trying to point out that the office is in shambles, it was that way before I was appointed. I was appointed the deputy because Miss Adams was sick. And I had the best working relationship with law enforcement, which is why I was put in that position, because at the time she was still considering running for this job. And she needed that support because of decisions that had been made in the recent past. And I had that best working relationship. Now, it's still her office. And there was things I told her that needed to correct, but things were never done. This is still the way she wants it, and so it's her office. Employees showing up at 10 to 11 o'clock each day. Attorneys, that doesn't count. That ain't cut it. And yes, I raised that issue several times. It fell on deaf ears. Issues we have with some of the programs, I brought that up, such as the workless check-in. In February, I said, you need to audit this program because it's not running right. That also fell on deaf ears. So there's points when you get tired of butting your head against the wall. So Mr. Wagner, to tell you that the office is in shambles, it was that way before we started. And I'll tell you, that's why the attorneys in that office are politicking against me, because they don't want to change. They want to keep it the way it is. And that's why I am running, because I'm going to change it. You're going to have people that's going to work for the community, not for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I was just challenged on Miss Adams' sickness. That hit the nail on the head. Miss Adams got sick for a second time, June 2013. She has been just about completely unavailable. My heart goes out to her. I'm not nearly as mean as that might sound, but that office, both offices needed management. Nobody would step up. She was nowhere to be seen. She'd actually left the state for treatment back in December. And she called me at home. I'd never talked to her on the phone in the 12 years I've been up here. Never been in her office. She's never been in my office. I don't know her family. But after she heard that I was going to run, and I didn't do it wasn't a snap decision, nobody else was doing anything. And I was seeing the cases that I keep telling you about. I mean, it was disturbing. And so she called me at home and asked me not to run. Not once, but twice. She offered me a job. She said, if you just want to prosecute again, I'll give you a job. I said, I don't want a job. I had a good job. I liked what I was doing. I want some changes made. And I am hurting that she's sick. I feel sorry for her. She's a young woman. She's got children. My heart goes out to her. But she wasn't doing her job. The office was falling apart. Changes needed to be made. When I resigned, my paycheck ended. I'm not a rich person. If any of you know the military background, you don't get rich on that. But I felt strong enough about it that something had to be done. So I resigned the job, and then 6 weeks later, that's when she finally said, okay, I can't run, and she sponsored Mr. Wagner. That's Chrissy Adams in a suit. They are still one and the same thing. As to the management, when I told you earlier, I was a GS-14 with the Commissary Agency. I had 8 attorneys scattered all the way from California to Virginia Beach to San Antonio, Texas. I had to manage all those people, run the budget. When I was in a circuit defense job, I had 26 defense attorneys scattered throughout the Midwest that I was responsible for. When I was in Korea, I told you I was down in South Korea right by myself as far as the attorney had a staff. That was a lonesome job. So I've had plenty of jobs where I have been responsible for the office and managed budgets, and it's gone very well. The radio ad, I've got to come back to that, that has been turned around completely backwards. I was not challenging that she was not sick. My point was that she was sick and we needed some replacement. Also, I know you guys, if you've seen TV today, we had a debate last week, and a question came up about what we needed to change, and both attorneys here said the prosecutor's office needed more money. Somebody left a note on my windshield and shows me that they have $1,258,701 hidden away in a slush fund somewhere. If you don't think that's got people's attention today, I filed a FOIA request, I filed a complaint with the IG. Win, lose, or draw on this election, I'll get to the bottom of where this money is and where it came from. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a microphone available. If you hold up your hand so that the individuals can hear your question,